Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Grand Line Review, and we are on another tier list. We're checking out, ranking every villain in One Piece. Let's go. Crocodile's up there. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and today we are here to do the things with the people. Specifically, bad people, villainous antagonists, if you will. Because every One Piece arc is only as
Kaido's up there as well,
but that's a
damn.
bit problematic because how do we determine just how good the villain is? Well, we do that by arbitrarily ranking them on the internet. So I am here today to present the Grand Line Review potentially ultimate One Piece villain tier list maybe. And I want to make this clear right from the get-go, this is not a power-based ranking. Characters here are going to be judged based solely on the criteria of how well they perform their role as a narrative antagonist.
Okay.
And also, more rules. We don't have time to throw in every villain who has ever appeared in the series, so this video will be examining primary arc antagonists only. The ones that really drive all of the
Doflamingo, man.
And very interestingly, there are certain arcs that don't have primary antagonists to examine, such as the Reverie or even arguably Whiskey Peak. Meanwhile, there are also non-canon arcs that do have primary antagonists, but we will be ignoring them because I don't have the space in my mind brain to think about Eric the Whirlwind. Ugh, now I'm thinking about it. This is off to a bad start.
So glad I'm manga only.
We have 23 candidates to rank, who will be drawn at random from this One Piece themed hat, and plonked accordingly in various places for assorted reasons. And with that, I think we're good to go. Go subscribe to the Grand Line Review, that is, which will result in consistent injections of One Piece culture administered directly into your YouTube feed. Because we are slowly working our way towards that wonderful 1 million number, so let's
it's nearly there now, isn't it?
Kings of YouTube. And please do say hi in the comments below.
And O'Hara. O'Hara's nearly there as well.
Welcome. Going to, if I can ever get it out of the hat, we are going to begin with Alvida. I was going to say very appropriate because she was the first villain for One Piece, but that honor actually goes to Hickman the Bear, who we will unfortunately encounter later.
Okay, that's where he's from.
I think that her crowning charm as an antagonist is just how satisfying it is to see her get punched into utter oblivion.
Yep, bye.
We do have a bit of a problem because we are going to have so many other, quite frankly, better villains coming up. So
hell yeah.
For now, you're going to occupy a solid C. Next up is Foxy.
Oh god.
Oh, this is a slow start. Which is an unintentional pun, but I'll take it. Foxy is
because of his power.
Right? Because he is, well, he's far from traditional. His entire goal is to be something of a comical fool, and he does perform that role to perfection.
Well,
For
yeah.
some people, he does outstay his welcome a bit, I would say. And if we're talking about impactful, then, as much as it pains me, I think we've got no choice but to send him into the dank foxhole of D. Now,
the foxhole.
Crocodile.
Hell yes.
To me is the gold standard of One Piece antagonists. He has absolutely
everything
going for him, being
awesome.
Design, new and seemingly invincible powers, for the time anyway, and a level of intellect that had been missing from all villains prior to him.
Yes, definitely he was very, very clever.
Saga. Crocodile's defeat is still to this day a scene that I will go back and rewatch over and 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 over. As far as I'm concerned, almost every antagonist in the series is just chasing Crocodile's crocotail.
Yeah,
there are very few
I feel like that.
Can measure up to his impact. So we are going to take a cue from the word sand and give Crocodile
S.
a capital S.
Nice.
Actually, every letter in sand is here on this tier list. Actually, except for C and B, and also there's no N.
Anyway, that's what I was like, what? There's no N?
Yeah. He's very similar to Foxy.
Yep.
A more comedic presence who I don't think could be taken completely seriously at any given moment.
Definitely D tier.
Much more evil and threatening Foxy, so
he was very disappointing, man, at the Punk Hazard.
Who I really disliked as a villain, but really started to love when he became just a side dude. So that's not a stunning endorsement to villainry, but I can't in good faith place him on the same tier as Alvida, so let's grace this bumbling fart clown with a B.
B?
Krieg. This feels like a bit of an easy one to me because Krieg is the very definition of standard. He does an adequate job of being a complete fumble nut, and there's quite a bit of satisfaction to be gained from his defeat.
Yeah, very much so.
He lies more in memorability. Of every East Blue villain, Krieg is the one who I probably remember the least. He doesn't have the excitement of an Alum or a Kuro, or even the longevity of an Alvida or a Buggy. So he's just kind of disappointing. And disappointing is a magnificent D word for Mr. Dion Krieg to be shoved into the D-land.
Damn.
Katakuri.
Ooh, Katakuri, man.
Here we have one of of the rare challenges for Crocodile's S-tier status. And it's one of those situations where I do need to be careful with my language because Katakuri isn't so much of a villain as he is an antagonist. Just like his beloved Donuts, Katakuri is a very well-rounded character with a lot of room for inner growth because donuts have holes in them, so there's room.
Okay, I like the analogy.
I also don't think that One Piece has ever had an antagonist who is so simultaneously threatening and yet genuinely captivating, because there is a point during his fight with Luffy where you really do start to root for Katakuri. I've not felt that
at one point you're like, oh god, I kind of want this guy to do well.
I think it's only right that we open up a brand new donut tier, because Katakuri really has deliciously transcended what it is to be a One Piece antagonist. Wapol! Oh,
he's down on D.
Big step down. I'd like to start by saying that I do really like Wapol these days. His cover story was hilarious, and I think he definitely works best as a tertiary character. As an antagonist, he's weird. If anything lets Drum Island down as an arc, it is definitely Wapol. He's just lacking in everything I'm looking for. He's not threatening.
No, not threatening at all, yeah.
Boxy levels of goofy, and he doesn't provide a lot of, if any, memorable action. So Wapol seems like a pretty easy D, however I do feel bad putting him next to Don Krieg. Bad for Krieg, that is. So we're gonna move Krieg up to C and make some room for Wapol.
Okay,
also,
fair.
why is Alvida in C? I mean, what was I thinking? We're gonna move her down to D because I clearly had a brain malfunction there. Galdino, or Mr. 3, I guess. He's here because he was the driving force behind Little God. He was decent enough.
He captured Zoro.
Galdino and his Candle Posse are the first group to properly threaten the Straw Hats. If not for Usopp and Karoo, Little Garden it's pretty much the end of One Piece. So Galdino, look, he does get some points.
He did well.
I really don't think he was terrible at all, but I don't think he particularly excelled at anything. And for that reason, we're going to shove him in the middle with the B. Bellamy, the hyena.
Ooh.
Bellamy is the most insufferable, cocky, modesty of
but as a villain,
blonde
wow,
that I have ever come across in all of media. And that's exactly why he's gonna do pretty well here. Bellamy's legacy on One Piece is like no other antagonist. This man was beaten with a single punch,
which was so sick.
Is arguably the most memorable in the whole series. And that's because Bellamy was built up so perfectly.
He just speeding around everywhere and then just bang.
I would argue that he succeeds where similar characters.
And then when we see him again in Dressrosa.
I mean, they're both absolute fecal stains on the world, but there's just something about Bellamy that really lights this fire of pure loathing inside me. But then he got punched in the face and everything was over. And that is a testament to just how well he did his job. It was a very different job to a saga-based antagonist like a crocodile or a flamingo, but what Bellamy accomplishes in a handful of chapters is absolutely stunning and worthy of nothing less than Captain Morgan.
Oh god.
I said before that Don Krieg was probably the most forgettable East Blue villain, and I would now like to amend that to Morgan. He's a stereotypical dude guy, like a really bad dude guy. In the manga, he even ordered his men to commit suicide, and that's
not cool.
Just forget about him, though, and I also forget about the fact that he was defeated by Zoro, and I come to think that that's quite rare. Rare things should not be forgotten. A main antagonist not defeated by Luffy. Morgan, he just does nothing for me, and when someone does nothing for me, what we do is we open a brand new tier, a Simon tier.
Oh god, here we go again. Simon tier.
Magellan. Now, Mr. Poison Boy is unique because he's an arc antagonist that remained undefeated, and that is a big plus for him, because that adds to the sheer threat he represented. At no stage did anyone in Luffy's escape party have any hope of beating Magellan. He was almost like a destructive natural
What's the reason he's looking after the prison? Jesus.
Who spends most of his day on the toilet. Regardless of that, whenever he was on page or even on screen, I felt this legitimate sense of dread. Being pursued by Magellan is like being chased by the Slender Man or something. Once again, no hope of victory, only the slim chance of escape. And that's what makes Magellan a very strong A for me. Daddy Kaido.
Daddy Kaido.
I don't know why I said Daddy. I'm really in the Yamato mindset. I'll start by saying that this ranking isn't likely to be fair because neither Kaido's story nor his arc is concluded at the time of this recording, but at the moment, I just can't bring myself to give him an S. Kaido is the most invincibly fearsome being that we have ever come across.
I would give him an S after everything that happened with the fight and that. But again, this was done, what, 10 months ago?
Strength, he currently lacks something for me. Something which may present itself in the future, but not right now. So Kaido is going to tank a very sorry A.
Oh, it's definitely S.
Here he is. is the very first antagonist of One Piece. And pretty amazing to think about, but he's actually the reason why Shanks lost his arm. There's not a lot of characters who have managed to wound an Emperor of the Sea to that degree. That was an unintentional rap, actually. Not that Shanks was an emperor at the time, but still. For someone so seemingly irrelevant, Higama has had such a profound impact on One Piece, and I think that's why he should be honoured with a rank equal to that of his final resting place, which is the Sea. Fleet Admiral Sakadude guy. Sakazuki is his actual name, and I had a bit of trouble deciding whether or not to actually include him here, but in the end I did deem that he is kind of the main antagonist of Marineford, and I think his actions do thoroughly back that up. He currently stands as the only antagonist to successfully kill a major protagonistic character in the One Piece.
That was so sad, man. I remember reading that and just being like,
Count Perospero because Pedro killed himself. But Sakazuki, as a certified a-hole, will now nicely fit into a hole within the A. If that makes sense. It doesn't. What am I saying? Buggy the Clown.
Hell yeah.
Controversial opinion at time, maybe, but I don't actually think that Buggy is a good villain. He shines quite brightly as a secondary character, getting caught up in all sorts of...
I mean, it's the funny hijinks that he gets involved with.
When the drama was focused on him in Orangetown, it was all just a bit meh. So Buggy's delivery is going to make good on its name, and plonk Buggy right into the deep. This time it is Enel. God himself hath arriveth to this tier list.
What a villain.
And quite frankly, I think that Enel is a bit difficult to rank alongside our other antagonists. He does have a lot going for him, and he strikes this strangely intriguing balance between
Is he going to come back?
He's kind of like Foxy if Foxy had the powers of some sort of thunder god. So very, very unique, which is why we are going to place Enel on a satellite moon tier, designed only for the most special of space villains, of which I guess he is now technically one. Captain Kuro. I make fun of Kuro a lot because his plan was about as stable as Whole Cake Chateau.
Yeah, it was a bit dumb, but he was very interesting.
Kuro did put in a lot of decent work as an antagonist. He is no doubt memorable, fearsome, and very satisfying to see defeated, so I think that's more than enough to hand him a well-deserved B.
Fair.
Lucci. If you ever needed any proof not to place your trust in cats, then this man is your wake-up call. However, Lucci did something more or less unprecedented in One Piece during his era, which was being introduced as an ally, and then transforming into a big catty cat primary antagonist. What? Let's try that again. Lucci did something more or less unprecedented during his era, which was being introduced as an ally and then transforming into the primary antagonist. Despite the fact that he's not particularly emotive and his general character...
Yeah, wasn't the thing that like he pretended that he couldn't talk and then the bird talked for him?
Quite a journey, as well as provided one of the most spectacular slugfests against Luffy in the entire series. He does his job immaculately, but I don't think he quite makes the impact of a true S-tier antagonist, so that simply leaves us with an A assassin. Charlotte Lin. This is probably the only instance on this list where I consider an arc as having two primary antagonists, because Whole Cake Island is very much split between Big Mom and Katakuri for that role. When it comes to Big Mom, though, I see her very similarly to how I described Magellan, an unstoppable force of nature with no hope of victory in her arc anyway. And while she does have arguably more substance to her at this stage than, say, Kaido, I still can't quite see her breaching that S-tier, so we're going to have to award Big Mom with an avocado cheesecake, which sounds disgusting to me.
It does.
Apparently it's a thing that sick people like you eat.
Me? I wouldn't dare.
Hody Jones. I think I'm very much on the record as hailing Hody as probably the most lackluster antagonist in the series.
Quite disappointing.
I mean, there's a lot he does right. And when I say a lot, I mean one thing. What he does right is embody the primary idea of his arc being racism. In this case, it's sort of blind zealot style, and yet not entirely without reason racism. But what he does wrong is everything else. His design is like the before picture of Arlong's weight loss journey. He's never legitimately threatening. His presence is once again lackluster, and overall
that's so funny.
during Fishman Island arc, which directs its energy more towards Fisher Tiger and Otohime, as it should, by the way, because that's where the substance is. And there are characters on this tier list with the exact
substance. What a word.
The early East Blue villains in particular, but what they have going for them is that we only had to deal with them for a handful of chapters at most, whereas Hody Jones is the main antagonist of a New World arc that lasts 51 chapters.
Jeez.
That's a serious chunk of story.
That's
like
big.
1/20th of One Piece as a whole. And Hody is, he's just not the guy to helm something that large. So we are going to do something unprecedented here and open up a brand new tier below Simon,
Double
which
Simon?
generally would be a double Simon.
Yes.
But in this case, we are exploring even further depths by opening the Fishman Simon tier, because that's firmly where I believe Hody Jones belongs. Go there, stay there, but never come back. Arlong. Oh good, this will balance things out. For someone introduced so early on, Arlong has such a powerful legacy in One Piece. As a villain, he did everything perfectly.
Oh, the whole thing with Nami was just like, whoa.
He generated this Bellamy-style hatred, and watching his defeat was one of the most euphoric occasions that I've had in the entire series experience thing. Regardless of comparative power or arc length, Arlong has served as a better antagonist than almost any other One Piece villain, and that's why our shark will be given a delicious
yes, I agree.
Don Quixote
Ooh.
Flamingo. So I think we have another immediate S tier on our hands here, because one of the
God, he
villains
was incredible.
who did an equitable job
So interesting.
is certainly Mr. Stringpants. This man is the reason why 102 chapters of Dressrosa was not only bearable but enjoyable. Also, Doflamingo has a proper X factor that I would argue even exceeds that of Crocodile. However, that might just be sheer flamboyancy. Either way, slap him right in the smile with an S. And now we have Gekomori. Look, he's alright, just give him a B or something. And there you have it, the potentially ultimate ranking tier thing featuring One Piece characters, some of which are better than others for reasons. But you need no reason to click this next video, although if you did, well, it's a video about One Piece, which is the thing that you like, because there's always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.
That was fun. I like these tier lists. I think there's like 2 more that he's got. I'll mix them up in between all the other videos that are out there at the moment. But yeah, can't really disagree with much of those decisions. I think Kaido definitely should have been higher, but this was done ages ago, wasn't it? So that's fair. And yeah, we got Green Ball now as well. But yeah, anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all that helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch, discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.